I know you guys did a lot to keep the hitters engaged during this shutdown. What have been your impressions so far of what you've seen from this group and how ready they are?
Well, I think so far so good. It's been to our advantage to have start live BP right away on day one. And as the days have gone on, and now we've got a couple of partial inter-squad games under our belt, overall, we always have room for improvement, but overall, I think we've had some pretty good at-bats.
Nathan Ruiz, go ahead.
Hey, Don, thanks for doing this. We just talked to Jose Iglesias, and he mentioned that during the shutdown, he wasn't able to take any live BP. What kind of challenges do you think it was for these guys to have that time, and what ways did you try to find them ways to still get work in?
Well, even during a season, under normal circumstances, the biggest disconnect in hitting from practice to game is finding opportunities to replicate game speed. So you can imagine without that available at all over a 3.5 month period, it makes it very challenging. Really some guys had that available to them depending on where they lived and, other professional guys around them. And the kind of the state ordinances allowing it, people to be outside on fields and things like that. But it was really a case-by-case situation. And the guys that didn't have that opportunity, we had some guys who all they had available was to hit off a tee. They couldn't even do flip or take batting practice. So, we try and stay in touch with them as far as where they're at and what they've been able to do. And then, like I said, hit the ground running and get them right into live, just throw them right into it. And it could be a little uncomfortable and a little ugly at first, but the only way to overcome that and get over that hurdle is to get in there from day one. And we've had a great opportunity to do that. These guys have gotten a ton of plate appearances already within the first week of working out.
Dan Connolly, go ahead.
Good to see you, Don. Hope you're doing well.
Well, thank you.
So your offense, for the most part, with the exception of maybe Chris Davis, is a bunch of young guys who've had a little bit of experience, little taste of success last year, but are still really trying to, find their footing and prove themselves. And I know last year you preached patience a lot and how there's going to be ups and downs and ebbs and flows. But this year you only got 60 games. How difficult is it going to be to, keep preaching that message and getting these guys not to get too down on themselves if they start slow, given the fact that you only have 60 games?
Well, at any time, even in a regular season, you really don't – the game doesn't wait for you, The game doesn't feel sorry for you no matter how good you are. And if you happen to start slow, you have to be able to – the thing that we talk about a lot is even within an at-bat is having the ability to master the ability to let go. So if an umpire calls a borderline pitch a strike that you thought was a ball, or if you chase a pitch above the zone or a breaking ball in the dirt, that's already done. You have to master the ability to move on to the next pitch very, very quickly. And, we try and come in every day with that mentality, with that mindset. We can talk about and learn from what happened in different situations and different at-bats through the course of the previous game. But hitting is unforgiving. You really have to have the frame of mind when you're at the plate that you're up there to win every pitch. And the beauty of hitting is you can have not such a good at-bat going and win the last pitch of the at-bat, and you get to win the whole at-bat. So that's the challenge for these guys, whether it's 60 games or it's 162 games, is having the mentality that says, I have to compete to win this pitch. And it's a series of every at-bat, every pitch is really an at-bat. And the more that I can tune in mentally and let go of the negative more quickly and move on and be ready for the next pitch, that's the challenge, but that's the way we have to approach it every single day.
Rich, go ahead.
Hey, Don, good to see you. You're 2 weeks from opening day, and you only have 3 exhibition games before opening day. Do you think that the guys are going to have adequate preparation with just these intra-squad games and those 3 exhibition games?
Well, it's going to have to be, right? We don't have the luxury of changing our reality right now. We have to work within what we have, and we have to have the expectation that we will be ready and we will be ready to perform come opening day. And, whether I think that's enough or not is irrelevant. And I don't really want to spend any of my time, nor do I want any of our hitters to spend any of our time, building in an excuse to not be ready. We plan on being ready, whatever that looks like in the beginning. We're a group of guys that like was mentioned earlier, is inexperienced at the major league level, a lot of our guys. But we have an opportunity to improve every single day. So we plan on being prepared, opening day, and then continue to stay prepared and continue to improve throughout the course of our season.
Steve, go ahead.
Hey, Don, when you have young hitters like Austin Hayes, and maybe Mountcastle fits in this category, that are aggressive, and that's been a key to their success in many respects. How do you balance helping them make sure major league hitters don't take advantage of that and yet continue that aggressiveness? Is there ever anything to rein in there, or is that how they hit and you let them hit?
Well, we want all of our guys to be aggressive and ready to hit, but the term we use is always ready, never in a hurry. And what I mean by that is we have to understand what part of the strike zone we're good at, and we have to attack the pitcher based on our strengths, especially before 2 strikes. And, I think that when guys are talented and they're coming up in the minor leagues, it's a little more forgiving. At this level, it's a little less forgiving. If they identify an area that they can throw to, especially if it's out of the strike zone and they can get you to swing and basically get yourself out, then there's something that we have to improve upon. And the best way to improve upon that is to really understand what you're good at. And then once you understand that and you become disciplined in staying within what you're good at, then you're able to take the pitches that you're not successful with, or the locations you're not successful with. So we never want any hitter to lose their aggressiveness, but we want them to learn to be aggressive under control, meaning they're ready to hit every pitch that's in their area of strength until their eyes tell them no. We don't want guys just up there hacking away and hoping for the best. So it's a combination of being aggressive, but having the discipline to stay within your strength and let everything else go. And, it's a daily challenge. It's a mental challenge, depending on some guy. I've seen guys in the past who start expanding their strike zone when they've been successful. They feel invincible. They feel like they can hit anything, so they start expanding. And I've also had guys over the years who are so enamored with a base hit that they'll swing at anything in an effort to get a base hit. So it's striking a balance between being aggressive and being disciplined and under control.
Just a reminder to please put your name in the chat if you have a question. Next up, David Lorilla. David, go ahead.
Hey, Don. Question about Jose Iglesias. He had a career high 11 home runs last year, despite having one of the, he didn't hit many balls in the air. I think he had one of the highest ground ball rates in either league. Is he a player that could benefit from an approach or swing change to drive the ball more, or is he best off as he is?
I don't think, I don't think it's so much of a swing change as it is being a little bit more disciplined in what he swings at. He swings a lot. He's very similar to Alberto in that sense. They both have a great ability to make contact and put the ball in play. I would like to see Jose really concentrate on, when you talk about driving the ball, really being a line drive type of hitter. So for any hitter really, but so when he has a line drive mentality and he misses a little bit toward the bottom of the ball and it is in the air, he's got a chance to get in the gap or out of the park And when he hits a little bit more to the top of the ball, it's more like a one-hopper through the infield, as opposed to maybe having an expanded zone, especially in the lower part of the zone and below, and then making a move that hits to the top of the ball and hits the ball into the ground. So I've really been impressed in the original version of spring training, and now that we're back together again, in how he works and what he's trying to do at the plate, both in his practice and in game situations. You know, he doesn't want to chase and get out and around the ball and hit the ball into the ground. He knows there's nothing there for him. So he's very mindful of having an approach and a discipline with what he swings at to get the ball on a line and be able to drive the ball, not just be able to be content putting the ball in play because he has such great contact ability. He really wants to hunt pitches that he can hit hard.
Dan Connolly, go ahead.
Hey, Don, the Baseball Writers Association is contractually obligated to ask you about Chris Davis every time we get you. So real quick here, what have you seen so far in this last week, and how's it compare to March?
Well, I think it's good. You know, I think like a lot of these guys, he's still getting his feet under him in terms of having live at bats, but his work's been great. His outlook, his mentality's been great. You know, I think the thing that he's carried over from March is, you know, he has made a decision to be up there and be ready to hit and not be so in between and not be uncomfortable up there and let the results, a willingness to let the results be what they are, but give himself the best opportunity to be successful by really being ready to hit and having the mentality to be up there to swing the bat and attack the ball and do some damage. And it was really refreshing, you know, after being with him last year, to see him come in with that outlook. And because honestly, that's where it all starts. If I believe I can do something, I certainly have a much better opportunity to do it and be successful. And he's really carried that over here, you know, an attitude and a mentality that he came into spring training with.
Jeff, go ahead.
Don, thanks so much for doing this. Really appreciate the time. I wanted to ask you real quick about Renato Nunez. It sounds like of all the guys that have been in camp so far, he's hit the ball about as well as anybody. What have you made of all the success he's had at the start of these inter squads, and how has it been better than what it was last year?
Well, you know, I really thought he turned a corner last year in early September when he started to understand that the position he was putting himself into hit was not conducive to being consistent and successful. And he finally, in his mind, said, you know what, I understand what I need to do. And as I kept in touch with him over the time we were apart, and he would send me video and I'd watch the kind of work that he was doing, I thought it was right on. And he's done that here. And, you know, this guy has a great ability to hit the ball hard all over the field. And most of his power last year was on his pull side. And I think because of that, what goes hand in hand with that, being a pull side power hitter primarily last year, made him vulnerable in a lot of places in the zone, especially on the outer half of the plate. And the position he's putting himself into now opens up the outer part of the plate for him and gives him the ability to use the whole field. And I think it was evident last night facing Means in the inter squad game where he got to 2 strikes and he was able to lay off 2 soft pitches. I don't know if they were both changeups, maybe one a cutter or a slider, and one a changeup for sure, down below the zone and take them like he knew they were coming. And then with 2 strikes, get a high fastball kind of up and in and shoot a ball through the opening, through the shift and drive in a run. Last year, he would never have gotten to the fastball because he would have swung at one of those first 2 pitches below the zone and probably struck out or maybe rolled the ball to the third baseman. So he shows, you know, he's shown a more mature approach. I think that started last September and it has kind of carried into the first spring and certainly now here.